This Science Summit is geared at how we can bring new scientific innovations to help the UN achieve its Sustainable Development Goals. We picked goal number 1, no poverty, number 3, good health and well-being, and number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Really, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, enhancing mental health will really help assist in achieving almost all of them. So we feel strongly that the work that we have and what we're bringing forth can help the UN achieve its goals and really bring a lot of positive mental health and well-being. And that if we really optimize people's mental health in a very comprehensive way, the benefit will be much beyond 2.5 trillion or 5 trillion and really unquantifiable. So now we're going to move, Dr. Nithyananda is going to give a brief intro to our concepts of mental health.
Thank you, Dr. Daily challenges and relationships more often than not when it comes to mental health, because that's what happens on a regular basis. But to emphasize that mental health is not just short-term, but it's also long-term. And part of our presentation today is going to focus on the long-term, right? So there are 3 aspects to mental health. One is treating after the problem has happened, but 2 important parts of it are being preventative and also enhancing mental health. We'll talk about it briefly. Mental health is one of the greatest, pretty much focused on treatment, which is after the fact and super expensive. And it tends to focus on emotional, psychological and social aspects of mental health. Like emotional means, can we handle stress and emotions? Can we handle anxiety? Psychological is, can we change the thoughts to control thoughts? Maybe think of happier things. It's more like positive thinking. And social is, can we manage jobs and relationships? Can we manage the environment around us? To be truly sustainable, which is what this session is about, I think the traditional approaches have to be sustained with holistic approaches, which are not usually identifying the jobs and relationship. Think of it as a spiritual quest, right? Realizing our peak potential. That is really what will unleash the happiness within us. Next slide, please. I just wanted to go through some definitions. You may hear these words through some presentations, and I wanted to define them ahead of time. Like incompletions are beliefs. Many of us tend to grow up with very limited view of ourselves, not due to our own faults. It's because the world, imagine in a school, a teacher evaluates students. They only have a single way of evaluating students based on their own rubric. If a student doesn't fit into that rubric, then the student is graded low, and then the student grows up thinking that they don't have great potential, although they may be extraordinary in doing certain things that no one else can, right? That is what I mean by growing up with beliefs that are self-limiting, as being limited by our humanness, but actually liberated by our humanness. So it's a different way of looking at yourself. Next, delve into the mind-body studies.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nithyananda. So again, my section is titled Qualitative and Quantitative Studies of a Mind-Body Approach to Mental Health. And we love your questions and welcome them. And we invite you guys to look into it further. Then the Chancellor of Kailasa Nithyananda Hindu University, this is, the being we could talk about all day, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, who is, as per Hinduism, he is an incarnation of Paramashiva, which is the primordial divinity. And starting from birth as a yogi, he has achieved high consciousness and enlightenment and incarnation status to their members and the communities around them, including Andaran, giving food, growing agriculture, healing services, schooling. And then he's literally millions and millions of followers, over 1 million letters of commendation and recognition from political leader act. And then we're positing that it also can extend to consciousness, and that how we experience our mental health is going to be a reflection of our mind and our body and our consciousness. So some of the programs that have been brought by Swamiji are going to have tremendous effects at the cellular and physiologics program called Inner Awakening, again organized by Swamiji and run directly by Swamiji. Involved activities like yoga, meditation, initiations, which we're going to talk about what that looks like at the EEG level, a sattvic diet, the science of completion, which we'll talk about as well. And participants' blood were drawn before and after. It means like 2 to 7-fold in reduction of the proteins, of the gene products. And then the anti-inflammatory pathways that reduce stress and reduce inflammation were upregulated, again, 2 to 7-fold. And then there were 2 specific pathways that they noted. One is the antikinetic level. And then their stem cells were increased in 90% of participants. Stem cells are used as the raw material for replacing damaged cells and structures in the body. So, if an injury or just a natural aging, stem cells are used to replenish with fresh cells. And so an increase in that is going to mean more use at a cellular level. The last thing they did, this was not published in that article, but it was around that time online. But again, it's completely organized and run and attended by our Swamiji, and done through teleconferencing, just much like how this meeting is going right now. So we looked at 4 different scales associated with mental health. One is the DASS, which stands for Depression, Anxiety, Stress Scale. One is WHO5, which looks at overall sense of well-being. One is SF36, which looks at overall physical health and some aspects of mental health as well. And the last is MAAS, which looks at mindfulness, which is your ability to be present, right? Everyone is talking about mindfulness and being in the present moment. So we wanted to measure all these things in people before and after. For the depression score, anything above 10 means depression. 5.7 is the average. For this, the close scores were 2, 2.7, so much lower than average and very far from depression. So this is going to show up as a really great state of well-being. And then we looked at anxiety. Above 8 is considered as an anxious person. The average in the US is around 6, so almost anxious. For the participants, it went basically from 4 to 2, so very, very far from anxious. Even before the program, people were better than the US average in terms of anxiety, which again may reflect their previous initiations and their connection with this enlightenment, really, really profound. And you can see again, if you look at the line graph and the bar graphs, everything's just going up. So really a profound sense of well-being from participating in this program, and both statistically significant and clinically significant. The SF36, this is a very complex scale. It gives 9 total scores around physical and mental health. Again, the higher is better. We did just a paired analysis for this, and all of them were improved. 5 out of the 9 met statistical significance, and they were also clinically significant. I just included a couple graphs here. The total score, you can see it's this lifestyle, which supports a sense of mindfulness. But at the end, it went all the way up to 4.8, 4.65. So a huge jump. The paired analysis just missed statistical significance. The p-value is 0.51. The trend, I think, speaks for itself. But the unpaired analysis was statistically significant. So again, we see an increase in mindfulness. So then the question becomes, what are these programs? What is special about these programs that's bringing these really remarkable changes at the cellular level? Particularly the mitochondrial assay, they found complete control over brainwave activity. He could just control his brainwaves at will. There was another doctor, a neuroscientist named Acosta Urquida, from Sound Health Designs in Wichita, and this was in 2005 and 2006. And they measured studied a variable called heart rate variability, which shows variability within the heart rate that reflects. He's a neurofeedback researcher. He was looking at EEG, and he noticed when he got a baseline reading, he kept changing the probes and changing the settings, because he said there's almost no activity on the EEG as baseline. Means when he was sitting there in a calm state, the brain was just completely quiet electrically. There was very little activity, which we will posit will correlate with a low thoughts per second, very little mental activity. That's a goal of Vedic traditions, yogic traditions, Hinduism, and they transmit it to someone they're healing or a disciple or any other person. Be like an initiation. It's putting them in the same brainwave state that's going to have profound effects on their well-being. He is doing initiations to his disciples or people visiting his ashram as well. He puts their brain in gamma waves, high amplitude gamma waves, which is a very specific kind of gamma wave that's almost never seen. So real quick primer on brainwaves. Brainwaves is the measurement of the electrical activity in the brain through an EEG, which is like an EKG for the brain, electroencephalogram. You can see delta waves are very low frequency waves from 0.5 to 4 hertz on the bottom left. This is like when you're in deep, deep restorative sleep, or if you were like in a coma. Theta waves, these are 4 to 8 hertz. In populations and individuals who have very little baseline gamma activity, they're much more likely to develop Alzheimer's dementia. In individuals who have a higher baseline, like very low levels, I'm talking that you need a QEEG to detect, they're not going to have dementia, Alzheimer's. So what we've seen that's unique and different, and that I've not seen described anywhere else, is our Swamiji can himself go into gamma at will, and he can transmit it to others at will, both through healing and through initiation. That itself is remarkable, and it speaks to the power of the programs and how the mental health of whole communities can be uplifted that way. So I see this as progression in their capacity to reflect this state of consciousness in their spiritual growth. And so they would do this by connecting with Swamiji, connecting to a state of oneness, doing things like blindfold reading and materializing. These are yogic shaktis that are beyond the scope of this presentation. But while doing these things, they'll describe a very low TPS, which again, TPS is thoughts per second, means completely quiet mind. And their whole sense of space will be just completely spacious and unclutched. So we're really excited about this. I think it has tremendous significance for humanity on many levels. And we're excited to research it further. So we'll be connection to higher consciousness, yoga pada, yoga and pranayamas, and meditations and kriyas. We'll be doing all of these experiential in this presentation. And then knowing pursuit of powerful cognitions means knowing yourself as a very powerful, connected being that is worthy of having this life experience and can express this life experience. And one thing that I think is connected all throughout the world, Hindu diaspora, people who have come from Hindu...
Play a little video about a meditation that can help you get to that state and calm your mind down. Like very often we are all filled with anxiety. And this meditation personally has helped me calm myself down in a moment of stress or anxiety, or in a moment of indecision. I don't know what to do, right? And I want to have clarity of mind. Too many thoughts are running in my mind. I just take a moment to practice this meditation where I unclutch from my thoughts. So I want to take you through this meditation, but
in one line, listen. Decide not to engage or continue creepy. Compare. To the unclutching process. In the initial level, you may be a little deluded here, there. Pure unclutching. Pure unclutching. Sit straight.
it's just to go through this unclutching. It's a great experience. I think it's really worth seeing that how simple a process can really bring your stress levels down. So I would really advise you to
flute like. You hear that?
do you want to share
You able to hear it?
no.
You able to hear it now?
Yes.
Unclutch from your thoughts. Close your eyes and unclutch from your thoughts. Awesome. One of the things that you would have noticed is while you're unclutching is your mind gets disengaged. As your mind gets disengaged from thoughts, we tend to listen to the outside sounds more clearly, like bell chiming or people talking, or cars going by. That's a positive sign. But understand that even those are thoughts. And next time you try this, unclutch from those also. And when you start unclutching from those thoughts, you will start listening to more of your inner sound, like your breathing.
Plays a very important role in regulating mood and cognition, not only through activities, but also pathways or circuits of communication between different brain regions are important. Brain and the digestive system, which is two-way, which is really important in mental health. And it turns out lifestyle measure of diet is very crucial in mental health. So eating a Western diet has been associated with poor mental health. And while just by switching over to whole food, plant-based diet, you can make big improvements in mental health. So again, we're highlighting how just lifestyle measures which cost very little to nothing, such as yoga, meditation, and diet, can make a huge impact. And it can reduce the costs associated with current treatment model based on medication and feeling pleasure. And so we can go on to the next slide. So not only is the gray matter or the brain cells, are they affected in depression, but also very importantly, the white matter system is affected. The white matter is very important and this is how different areas of brain communicate. And you can see here, certain regions of the brain have higher volume or more gray matter or neurons. For example, the medial and superior frontal gyrus. This is an area responsible executive functioning. So in other words, planning activities, social cognition, which lead us to interact well with others. The precentral and parahippocampal gyrus and hippocampus are very important for memory and handling your stress. These are enhanced in practitioners of yoga. Areas like the insula, superior temporal gyrus, occipital gyrus, and cerebellum are important for emotional awareness, processing of language and speech, as well as empathy. So being able to empathize with others and relate structurally, but also functionally. So we have functional MRI studies which look more than the brain structure. It looks at different areas of brain that are activated during certain tasks, and may explain why many practitioners of meditation experience a sense of bliss during their meditation. Also, imaging studies have looked at the thickness of the cortex. This contains the brain cells or neurons, and it turns out they're thicker in various brain regions listed there. These are regions that are important for emotions, which is important for helping us to have a sense of well-being. And this level is reduced in people who are depressed. But meditators at baseline have a higher level of serotonin. And it, in fact, further increases after a meditation session, which is very interesting. They also tend to have a lower level of norepinephrine. This is a brain chemical associated with anxiety. And they've been shown to have increased amounts of dopamine as well. And they showed there was a significant improvement in the amount of anxiety and depression that they were experiencing before and after, to the point that many were no longer depressed. And the GABA activity was boosted basically to the same level as people who were healthy and who did not have depression.
So basically the brain is connected to the gut by a vagus nerve. So what it means is what happens in the gut affects what happens in the brain. So the next question comes is, how can we impact the gut in a best possible way? So, the whole food plant-based diet, which is called sattvic diet, which basically comprises of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, beans, and least amount of unprocessed food and meat. So diseases, and as well as the autoimmune diseases. So in nutshell, basically, the healthy microbiome is caused by whole food plant-based diet. Next slide. for the video.
We're waiting for you to quickly go over this slide.
Okay, yeah, so inflammation is higher in some people with depression, significantly improved mood, and as I talked about, processed and packaged food are harmful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
Actually,
Thank you.
plants are also life, no doubt, but they have not developed a biomemory where the pain is stored and gets inside your system and creates pain. No. Understand? No. For a very small reason, you fall into depression because your biomemory is prone to depression. Understand, when you are eating the dead animal's flesh, you are also eating the muscle memory, biomemory recorded in it, that becomes part of you. You become prone to that pain.
Mental health. So there's various lifestyle practices in Hinduism, which Swamiji is reviving and promoting. And he's unique in promoting some of these lifestyles, such as Nirahara Samyama, and the importance of certain herbs or aushadas for detoxification of the body.
But through Swamiji, I came to know about Nirahara Samyama, which is really a step above that. So essentially, it comprises of taking a liquid diet for almost like 3 weeks. And I was amazed by its benefits. What I realized was, in order to digest the solid food, it uses body's energy. But when you are taking,
I had been practicing different Hindu spiritual practices and lifestyle measures, but this was something completely different. So I definitely experienced very similar to Dr. Pandav. Of course, there was weight loss, but that feeling of lightness and energy was definitely there. And it turned out it really wasn't as difficult as one thought. After the first day or two, it actually was not difficult to sustain. And definitely the mind was...
The other benefits of what you were said, mental clarity, and you're more happier and more lighter and all that. What happened was I used to get every summer allergic reactions. When I go to the garden, even the lawn, I'm really very bad allergy. So I had to take antihistamine all the time. And it actually affected my work style as well. So it was, I think, about 12 years ago, Swamiji introduced the Nirahara Samyama, 12, 13 years ago. The first time I did the Nirahara Samyama.
You guys for this discussion. We could discuss so much longer. We've met some time constraints. So we're going to move on to the next session, which is a pranayama breathing exercise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Scriptural references. You can search for them online. You can actually find them. Shitali pranayama is a technique to really cool down and de-stress. So it's a very easy technique. Sit up straight and roll your tongue. And roll your tongue and just put it outside of your mouth just a little bit so that your tongue is sticking out like this. And then deeply inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose, right? Like this. So inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose. You will see that this instantly, you will feel that the feeling of coolness in your chest. How many of you feel that deep cooling happening in your chest? You actually feel it there, right there. 10, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close your left nostril and breathe out through your right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now breathe in through your right nostril again. Okay. Let's move on to the last technique. The last technique is called Brahmari Pranayama. It's an amazing technique to clear your mind of anxiety-inducing thoughts. And Swamiji has given this reference. And this reference, you can go search for it online. It's a humming meditation. Essentially, what you do is you hum. Typically, you have to close your eyes, nose, and mouth, and then just hum. So right now, I'm going to only teach you the humming part. Just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and then hum deeply, flushes negative thoughts and anxiety from your head, and just fills it with the hum that is pure thoughts, nothing else, right? Let's try doing this for a few times. Continue humming for a while. Kriyas are a combination of visualization, yoga postures, and also breathing techniques. When done together, they actually have very powerful medicinal, sorry, I won't say medicinal, it's a very powerful effect in cooling the body, right? So we're going to talk about kriyas at the end of this whole session. Wait till then to hear a little bit more, but you can search online for Nithyananda kriyas and you will find them, okay? With this, let's move on to the next section. An everyday companion, which is easily available at their fingertips to handle emotions on a daily basis, but maybe even answer bigger spiritual questions, right? And one thing that everybody or most people have at their fingertips are low-cost phones nowadays. And if you have a phone and if you have internet access, unfortunately, more and more people around the world are getting access to the internet. Having access to free spiritual AI solutions online is actually a great way for us to address a few challenges, like address privacy, make trust and safety front and center. These are challenges that we are working through today. But if we overcome these challenges, using AI at scale for helping people with mental health is a very powerful solution. With that, I want to say a little bit about Nithyananda.ai. This is actually a solution that Nithyananda Kailasa has developed as a scalable solution for people. Demo, because it can take time. But here I'm going to show you a demo. This is like a video that I captured on my real demo. I captured a video. For example, I'm asking the question whenever I even stay at work a little bit late, I notice that I'm very anxious about how my wife will feel. What do I do about it? This AI makes use of the, if you can pause the video here, Peter, arises from separation between these two responsibilities and understanding that these two are both parts of you. And if you understand it from that wholeness perspective, you can actually handle the situation in a much better way. So it's a very powerful message that it helps you understand that you are a whole and you can't divide yourself into different personalities. About facing stress and suggesting yoga and meditation techniques. If you can fast forward this, maybe 10 more seconds. Yeah, so the next example is about, oops, we went too far. Yeah, this next section is about asking for yoga and meditation techniques for de-stressing, and it chooses techniques from scriptures and shares them with you. Anyway, that's the quick demo.
The National Institute of Mental Health here shows the incidence of mental illness among women. 1 in 5 women experience a mental health issue every year. Women are diagnosed with anxiety and depression twice as men. 25.7% of young women report having self-harming at some point. If we look at here from 2008 to 2022, the incidence of mental illness among women is increasing. It's pretty alarming. Place discrimination and the gender pay gap can lead to chronic stress. Relationship dynamics, women often become on emotional labor. So the causes are different. Now, when we look at the modern day treatments of mental illness, women seeking treatment to treat their mental illnesses are increasing, like 55%. Many patients either they use medications, cannot be compliant and quit, or they become more and more dependent on medication, but the end results are not permanent cure and it doesn't address the mental disorders, and usually it's only the symptom relief. The $1 trillion brain drain that's not sufficiently addressing the mental health. And social stigma around mental illnesses also prevent people to seek the treatment. So by knowing the different reasons for women's mental illness and also the available treatments are not that effective, let's learn from Kailasa a holistic approach with Hinduism. Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, his presidential address on November 7th, 2021, very powerful words about women. Women by their very DNA system are family, are a team, are a community together. So women have their own intuitive intelligence in the legislative chambers, put their views on forefront. So women hold 80% of leadership positions in Kailasa. While Kailasa's policy stipulates that 33% legislative positions should be held policy against sexual harassment and exploitation, and it creates the most safest environment for women on planet Earth. At social prominence, Swamiji has worked tirelessly for gender equality, not only in the economic society, but also in the spiritual and religious realm. The Sannyas Sampradaya, the monastic male child and women to empower them. And Nithyananda's Women Foundation, it helps Indigenous women to become again to get financial freedom and emotional support. Pregnancy is a great program where it supports pregnant women for having a painless delivery and a blissful birthing experience. So by looking at all this, empowering women's projects happening in Kailasa is very powerful.
Nothing to do with it. It is something to do with your inner quality. And next word, awaken. Only the feminine energy, sacred feminine need to be awakened. Creativity will never be possessive.
Practicing, and after being with Swamiji for almost about 20 years, none of my patients need pain medicine and none of my patients need narco, and it's his initiation, empowerment of women. We do like get powerful life, whatever you are, like wherever you are, to lead a very powerful, healthy life. So for all women, mothers, homemakers, anyone, everyone, get empowered with Kailasa ecosystem created by His Divine Holiness, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Paramahamsa Nithyananda. And it's a great coincidence that Navratri festival is coming. It's an annual Hindu festival. We celebrate Divine Mother energy for 9 nights. And I do pray to Ma Parashakti and Divine Mother energy to bless all women all over the world.
Listen to this sacred secret. Listen. Do completion 2-3 times. Sit with mirror. Actually, I tell you. If you sit with mirror and chant Mahavagya and do completion, you will see me in the mirror. Then all your patterns are complete. Till you see me in the mirror, do completion with us. Till I appear in the mirror, continue completion. And I tell you, I will really appear in the mirror and make you complete and make you manifest powers. When I say, I mean. Just sit in front of the mirror and declare simple integrity to me. Start patterns and incidents, root incidents, everything. Let all the incompletions melt down, be completely burnt away. You will see in your pure inner space and in the mirror me.
Talk about children and mental health issues.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sailesh Patel. I'm a psychiatrist practicing in California. So, as adult and women, children also have unique challenges for mental health. And we have the next slide. Peers, exploration of identity, and so forth. So, can we have next slide? So, based on this alarming number, we know that conventional approach have not been enough to address the other consciousness-based approaches which were discussed earlier, practiced on a regular basis, including yoga, meditation, and sattvic diet. Swamiji had given details how this Hindu education system promotes freedom to explore, which Bender Gestalt test was performed. This test assesses visual motor skills development, neurological functioning, and level of whole brain activation. This test is divided in 2 phases. First phase or copy phase, students are first asked to copy 12 images of various complexity. This copy phase reflects the student's visual motor intelligence and maturity. In second phase, recall phase, which is recall phase, students need to remember, fell into category of genius and very high superior intelligence. IQ score of 120 and above. So it shows very impressive numbers. Next category, intellectual maturity compared to exact to change to integrate such education into conventional curriculum. And of course, as I said, more studies are needed for this evidence, but policies to change sustainable development. Okay, I hand over to next speaker.
And all the research we've published has been very remarkable, very outside of the ordinary findings. And we're very sure the more research we do, the more we're going to find things like this. So anyone who wants to collaborate, we'd love to talk to you. My email and Peter Bloomfield, my email, and Sri Mukta Ananda, his email as well. They're both posted at the bottom. Also, policymakers for children's mental health, we invite you to contact us for collaboration for how to incorporate this approach to traditional education and for further research. And then, of course, shall I play the video, Mukta, or do you want to speak first?
Yes. Play the, I think, like I said before, kriya is a combination of yoga positions, yoga asanas, breathing techniques, and visualization. And Swamiji shared 108 kriyas for a variety of diseases and disorders to alleviate, use in conjunction with other approaches. And this video will introduce the kriyas and what do they mean and why they are so powerful. And after that, I'll walk you through a very simple kriya.
Productive circuit and energy circuit. Of these circuits, the energy circuit is governed by the Kundalini energy. Though not spoken much by the medical science, but elaborate references have been given for Kundalini energy in the Vedic tradition. The Kundalini energy is the innate, immense potential energy in every individual that helps complete the energy circuit. How does Kundalini energy in our body is like the water in the water tank. Kriyas are powerful tools which help to remove the energy blockage and restore the energy flow. When the body is aligned in certain postures during kriyas, the energy block is removed. Once the block is removed, the kumbhaka pumps in the Kundalini energy, just as the water gets pumped in to the pipeline. Once the block is removed, energy flow is re-established. Energy starts flowing and the disease is healed. Asanas and pranayamas.
Even for few seconds, if the energy circuit route is aligned and energy is pumped, you are out of the disease. You are out of the disorder. You are free. These kriyas. Third, visualizations. Fourth, verbalization means chanting of some mantra internally. See, internally when you create the sound,
Nitya, shall I start the music and then you'll announce the kriya?
Yeah. Do we have that in the slide?
This is the last slide, Mukta.
Okay. I think we need to bring that picture. If somebody can add that picture to the slide, to the next slide, that'll be great. Intense humming in your body, it creates an elevated feeling. Just lie down with that feeling and unclutch from everything. So I've taught you unclutching like before. We started off the session with it. I taught you that alternate nostril breathing, and I taught humming. Now we're just going to put them all together into one long kriya meditation. That's super simple. With your thumb, close your right nostril, start breathing in. Then close your left nostril and breathe out through your right nostril. Then breathe in through your right nostril and then breathe out through your left. Do this 21 times. pause the video? Can you pause the video? Great. Now, you will start focusing more on the music and the sound outside of you. Unclutch from that also. When you unclutch from that, you will start hearing your own body sound, breathing, heartbeat. Unclutch from that also. Fall into a deep silence. Surface level. I mean, there is a lot of depth to the meditation, mind, body, consciousness studies. But we just wanted to share some experiential, some experiences with you, so you can find out for yourself. So I hope you can practice this meditation before going to sleep every day.
United Nations going forward. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and have a beautiful rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.